As the nation mourns its latest losses in Afghanistan, we take a look at the elite unit known as the Navy SEALs. What does it take to become a Navy SEAL? And what kind of missions do they undertake? And what draws so many to this dangerous profession? Please stay with us as It's Your Call pays tribute to the Navy SEALs. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lynn Doyle. In the wake of the loss of 22 Navy SEALs in Afghanistan earlier this month and the success of SEAL Team 6 in ending bin Laden's reign earlier this summer, we found there's been an enormous interest expressed by you, our viewers, in this very elite unit. So this hour, we hope to give you an inside look at what it takes to be a Navy SEAL and the kinds of missions that they are involved in. We're pleased to be able to give you a first-hand account of all of this from two former Navy SEAls. Please meet William Brown, who served in the Navy for 8 years, for 5 years, from 2000 to 2005. He was a Navy SEAL on Team 8 and completed 3 overseas deployments. Also joining us is Tony Sanchez, who is a 1991 Naval Academy graduate who served as a SEAL for 7 years on SEAL Team 3 and SEAL Delivery Vehicle Team 1. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us, for sharing your experiences, and of course, let's begin by sharing our condolences with the loss of your Navy SEALs brothers. Can you tell me your reaction when you learned what happened most recently in Afghanistan?
Sure, Lynn. Thanks for doing this, by the way. It's a great opportunity for us to talk about the SEAL teams and I guess mourn the loss of the brethren. And my reaction when I found out about this, I received a text message from my brother, who's also a SEAL. And it brought me to my knees. It was a crippling kind of experience, but what follows right immediately in the wake of the reaction to the atrocity was a strengthening of my resolve, and I hope others feel that as well.
Why do you feel that it strengthened your resolve?
Well, our country's at war, and there's a tremendous adversary that we're facing, and it requires good men, good women, strong armed services to face that threat. So sometimes that comes at great cost, but there's a bigger picture here that we must remain committed to. Well,
certainly we know that we've experienced a great loss. William, in this particular situation, 30 American troops were lost, but there are just 30 out of thousands that we've lost in the last 10 years. How did you feel when you learned of this most recent disaster?
Well, like my brother in arms, Tony, my heart cried. I know the love and I know the sacrifice and I know the commitment that those brave men have for our great country. But at the same time, just like Tony, I felt that, these men, these great Americans, think about what happened. They not only were they in Afghanistan serving their country, but they died trying to help others that were in danger. They went into a hot LZ knowing they were rescuing other American forces. And when I think about the beauty of that, when I think about what that says about what our country stands for, and when I look at why were they there? I think about what the men in the SEAL community are there for, and what I believe the majority of them feel. I believe that the majority of them feel that they're there because they're worried that Afghanistan will turn into another staging area for international acts of horror, and they're there to stop that. And I believe that they died a couple days ago for our tomorrow.
And of course, we are paying tribute to the SEALs in this particular show, but I do want to point out that we have great respect for all of the troops and the NATO troops who are there serving America, both in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's just this particular unit seems to have something special about it, starting with the success that it had in capturing and then later killing Osama bin Laden. Tell me about your reaction to that earlier. Were you surprised that it was the Navy SEALs that was able to finally accomplish that mission?
It was two-part reaction again. It was rejoicing like the rest of the country that that's a victory, and it was also acknowledgement that this was a 10-year in the making victory, and it was the combination of all of the armed forces to get us to that point. I have particular pride in some, I would call it healthy inter-service rivalry, that because it was the SEAL teams in a unit that I personally have a lot of pride in. I was excited that it was SEAL Team 6, but at the end of the day, it was a big victory for the country.
All right, we're going to give our viewers an opportunity. If you have questions about the Navy SEALs and how one becomes a part of this elite unit, or you want to pass along a comment about those who were lost in the recent fighting in Afghanistan, we do welcome your emails and social media postings. If you want to email me directly, you can do so by emailing me at lynn@lynndoyle.net. As I said, we're also on Facebook. We have some Twitter comments for you, and of course, we're on YouTube as well. I am going to post some questions right now, actually, and give you an opportunity to ask questions of both William and Tony. So if you'd like to go to Facebook and tell us what you think, feel free to go ahead and do that. I have comments right away, gentlemen. You feel comfortable answering some comments?
Yes,
okay.
sure.
Ken says, Lynn, please thank them for all they do without anyone knowing what they do. But why is there so much secrecy around this particular unit?
Well, because it's operational security. One of the things when you're doing operations that are high risk, you don't want the adversary to know what your plans are. You don't want them to have an idea of where you're working at. You don't want them to have a probability of finding out your communications. So that's why it's strategic operational security. That's what the secrecy provides.
Okay, and Todd asked, what can we as civilians do to support what they as Navy SEALs do?
Yeah, I'm glad Todd asked that. So thank you for that opportunity to talk about it. We just talked about moments ago was the great human cost that we have, and there are a number of charities out there that support not just the SEAL teams but all the armed services. And the reality is our country's being tested, and it comes at great human cost. So there are a number of charities out there. I'll mention a couple of them right now. The Special Operations Foundation is one that I've done some research on myself, and the Navy SEAL Warfare Foundation, nswfoundation.org, are both good foundations that provide resources to the families when soldiers fall.
All right, we're glad to pass that information along. Another question that's come from one of our viewers is in regard to the actual training, both physical and mental, that Navy SEALs have to undergo. And we've been told that it is some of the most strenuous, some of the most rigorous, some of the toughest training in the world. Tell me a little something about that. Give us some insight into what a Navy SEAL has to go through to prepare for these secretive battles.
Well, the first thing a Navy SEAL has to go through is when you initially enter the United States Navy, you have to take an ASVAB score. And the ASVAB score gives the Navy an idea what jobs you're entitled to or what jobs you might be more proficient at. So you have to reach a certain ASVAB score. Then you have certain military physical requirements. You have to pass those tests, run, swims, pull-ups, things like that. Then you have to have a certain trade in the military, a rate. And then you get orders to buds. Once you get orders to buds, before you begin, there's normally a phase called PTR, Physical Readiness Training, and there they get you ready for your class.
Give me some idea, though, a little bit more in depth of what you actually have to endure physically to qualify to be a Navy SEAL.
Well, you have to be an athlete. You have to be a very endurance runner. You have to be a very good proficient swimmer. And you have to have extreme mental perseverance.
Now, Tony, you mentioned a little inner rivalry there between the troops. I always think of Marines as being like at the top of the game. How do Navy SEALs compare to the training that Marines go through?
In this case, you asked the right guy because I have a younger brother who's a Marine, and I have tremendous respect for the Marines. So please make no mistake about that. I love the Marines. The SEALs are just a different animal.
Me too, because I don't want the Marines writing me being all mad at me now, okay? I mean, I think you guys are all fantastic.
and all the services are in their unique way. Just to build on what Bill was just saying about the teams, it's a series of screens. In order to become a SEAL, you're going to have to go through basic underwater demolition SEAL training. It is regarded as the most strenuous in the military. It's got an attrition rate of 75 to 80%, so 1 out of 5 folks who enter the training, and that's a screen group to begin with, will complete the training. And then from the time you enter the SEAL teams, they continue to screen out. And Dev Group, SEAL Team 6, what we've heard a lot about, that is, again, yet another level of screening. So when you talk about why the SEALs are great, it's this perpetual state of readiness that you have to be in, and a perpetual state of competition, really, not just with the other services, but with operators inside your own units.
All right, on that note, we're going to take a quick break because I know people want to hear more about what it takes to be a Navy SEAL. If you have questions or comments, email me right now at lynn@lynndoyle.net. You can also find us on Facebook or some other social media sites. We're going to be answering some of your questions as we continue to pay tribute to the Navy SEALs. Please stay with us. We're going to share some personal stories when we come back.